Deep in the Missouri Ozarks lies this beautiful natural bridge. Here, Little Clifty Creek passes beneath a narrow bedrock spur and joins with the larger Clifty Creek on the other side. I think we can all agree that this feature really exists, right? But if you consult the digital topographic map served up by the USGS's National Map Platform, the bedrock ridge hosting this feature doesn't appear. And even if you pull up a lidar-derived digital elevation model, or DEM, it still doesn't appear. There's just an oddly pixelated zone making it look like someone's trying to obscure a secret government black helicopter base or something. Yet, if you look at an old-school paper topographic map, the bedrock spur hosting the bridge stands out. So why does this lovely karst feature exist in the real and paper worlds, but not the digital one? And what does the answer tell us about the limitations of digital mapping resources?
That's what we're exploring today, here on Ozark Outsider.
The Clifty Creek Natural Bridge is developed within the Ordovician Age Gasconade Dolomite, a formation that hosts many Ozark karst features like caves, sinkholes, and springs. The basic geomorphic story is pretty straightforward. In the past, Little Clifty Creek used to join Clifty Creek beyond the nose of this ridge, just like any sensible stream. But at some point, as erosion narrowed the dividing ridge from both sides, the water found some path through the rock and initiated a shortcut that eventually developed into a full-scale natural bridge, leaving behind an abandoned channel around the old bedrock spur. We love this site and are planning on doing a full video about its geologic and ecological setting at some point in the future, but today's focus is on the map pattern. Why do modern maps seem to erase the bedrock spur that hosts the natural bridge? To explore this question, we turn to the Patri Viewer, an open-source platform used for rendering and viewing large point clouds like lidar data. This was first developed at a university in Austria, but here we're loading it through a USGS website. Patri is cool because it reminds us that the laser pulses from which lidar is derived measure everything they encounter, not just the land surface. Above-ground features like trees are part of the initial dataset, producing views like this that create a really cool sense of moving through a digitized forest landscape. But to produce a nice smooth digital elevation map of the land's surface, like the kind you find on the national map, involves a series of data classification and processing steps to remove unwanted features, like trees and buildings. The Patri Viewer lets us toggle different data classifications on and off, and you can immediately see that there's a big problem with the raw data right at the site of the natural bridge. There's a big gap there that nicely matches the trace of the missing ridge. Yet if you use the 3D viewer to rotate beneath the land's surface, creating this surreal mole's eye view of the topography above, you can see that the ridge was accurately captured by the initial lidar scans. So why doesn't it appear above ground? Our inference is that the basic problem is a data classification error. Somehow this ridge didn't get classified the way the surrounding terrain did, making it appear to vanish when the lidar point cloud was processed to create the final digital elevation model. The strange pixelation visible on the national map probably represents extrapolation to fill in the missing data. There is clearly a significant data error here, however it happened, and in the resulting final digital elevation model, a notable topographic feature just plain vanishes. But why is this feature also missing from modern topographic maps? Well, a primary data source for the modern topographic maps produced by the USGS is now lidar-derived digital elevation models. Once you have these, you can calculate contour lines from the digital data and produce a topographic map that matches the DEM. But, of course, this means that any errors in processing the lidar data are naturally passed along to the final mapping product. And these base maps are served up on a variety of platforms. We already know the natural bridge is missing from the USGS's national map. GeoStrat, the Missouri Department of Natural Resources state-level platform for geologic data, uses the same base map, and sure enough, it's missing there too. How about the Missouri Department of Conservation, which manages the Clifty Creek site in the real world? Well, they use a slightly different base layer in their interactive maps, but that layer still seems to draw from the same dataset that strips out the natural bridge.
It's kind of fascinating to realize that nobody noticed this error at any stage of processing or map production. But in fairness, it takes someone familiar with the local area to recognize that something's wrong. We've been to this site many times, but only recently noticed the mapping error. How many other places has this happened? This isn't a question of blame, it's just a reality of complex data management. And it's not like paper maps don't contain errors too. So the lesson here is don't blindly trust the products of modern technology, even when it comes to maps.
We love how the hard work of the USGS provides modernized, seamlessly integrated topographic maps at our fingertips, along with lidar-derived DEMs that help us explore landscapes. But this discovery is a good lesson in caution.
The best advice we can give for relying on digital mapping products draws on my long ago past as a young Russian major. During nuclear disarmament talks between the US and the Soviet Union, a relevant Russian proverb entered the American lexicon. Doveryai, no proveryai, meaning trust, but verify.
If you want to verify the existence of Clifty Creek Natural Bridge for yourself, it's easy to do. It lies within Clifty Creek Natural Area, accessed via a lovely 2.5-mile hiking loop starting from a trailhead in adjacent Clifty Creek Conservation Area. We'll link to these sites below. The bridge is at the trail's easternmost and farthest downstream extent, because the public land border lies just beyond. Please treat this special area with respect and leave no trace. After all, the digital maps left no trace of this site either.